for me, it was something I never even thought about. It was just a normal thing that when you get bread and you're not eating it in that moment, it's stored in the refrigerator, and then you get it out the next day if you want to eat some more. And it was very strange to me that one day my wife said to me, "Why are you putting the bread in the refrigerator?" As if that would be a question. So that was kind of how it started for me.
I grew up where we baked homemade bread. We often had European style bread. I don't remember actually purchasing sliced bread from the grocery store. And we definitely never had white bread in my home. It was all whole grain or sourdough. Anyway, 100% of the time it was stored on the counter. So yes, we ate it, but also it was in the bread box. Sometimes there's a drawer. One of the places we spent a summer, there was a drawer that was the bread box, so it wasn't technically on the counter. But the point is, it was certainly at room temperature. I never even really thought about it until we were married and living together, and I opened the refrigerator and there was bread inside. It was like somebody put a pair of shoes in the refrigerator. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but the point is that
I'm sure that's how it was for you.
yeah, I was like, what's this bread doing here? And like, who's playing tricks? It's not April Fool's Day.
Yeah, like, am I getting senile and just putting things wherever, and where are you going to find something else next?
Yeah, or is it some like hidden camera to see like, what do you do when somebody puts bread in the refrigerator? So the first time it happened, I just took it out, put it on the counter, and proceeded with whatever I was doing. Then a few hours later, the bread was back in the refrigerator, and I still took it out and proceeded, but it definitely...
Because here am I thinking, oh, if we leave the bread out, it's going to get harder and less fun to eat. Someone must have accidentally left the bread out, so I'm just going to put it away again. Because that's obviously where it goes, is in the refrigerator.
Right, and you're not like a practical jokester. I knew you were sincere, but what were you thinking? And it's worth saying that we had some very clear differences in our upbringing that we anticipated needing to navigate and decide how we would do things. These are things that I think every couple encounters, no matter how different or similar your family cultures are. And I mean, sure, you could have grown up in different countries and have a different culture in that way. Or actually, you and I both grew up in the greater New York area, and there are some big differences, but there are enough similarities that you would think these things wouldn't come up, but they come up anytime two different people from two different families cohabit and share a space, like we did with the bread, with curiosity, with acceptance, then something that just seemed black and white, right and wrong, and personal. Like, I felt insulted that the bread went in the refrigerator. It really is a totally depersonalized, neutral issue now. And once it becomes depersonalized and neutral, there's a whole level of creativity and expansiveness and collaboration that becomes possible. And if I were listening to this conversation, I'd want to know where the bread is stored now. And honestly, it varies. Like, if we know we're going to be eating it within a reasonably short amount of time, or it's sourdough from our local organic French bakery, and you know that it means a lot to me that that kind of bread is on the counter, then it's stored on the counter. And if we have bread from the supermarket that's sliced, that we're gonna take a month to eat.
Right, if we're going through a phase of not eating as much bread,
yeah, then
it stays in the refrigerator.
Exactly. And it's a situation where if we weren't married to one another, and there weren't any other influences to consider, I would have absolutely continued to keep the bread on the counter, and you would have absolutely continued to keep the bread in the refrigerator. And now it's just based on what makes sense in the moment. Like there's more spontaneity and more like presence in how we navigate this seemingly benign topic.
Yeah, and the way that I would say it is that once I really understood that you heard my point of view, and once you really felt that I got your point of view, then it was much easier to feel like we were on the same team and just making a decision about how are we going to do it together that didn't have nearly as much charge. But that was the thing that was the process.